Hi everyone! Our guest today is Svein Erik Hogmo, the co-founder and CEO of ORIVO. He's a Norwegian entrepreneur with a passion for science. He earned his master's degree in biotechnology from the Norwegian University of Science and Technology. He spent his early career honing molecular biology techniques while working in the analytical laboratory industry in Scandinavia.
And in 2014, Svein Erik co-founded ORIVO, an independent testing laboratory that serves manufacturers of omega-3 products, pet food, animal feed, and seafood. Due to the challenging supply situation in the fish oil industry, there has been a significant increase of fraudulent products entering the market. ORIVO provides evidence-based transparency to the pet market through advanced laboratory analysis, verifying the species and geographic origin of pet supplements. Vital Pet Life is proud to be the first US-based pet brand to provide the origin and traceability of our fish oils through ORIVO's certification.
Yes, Dr. Amber. At Vital Pet Life, we see our customers living more intentionally, creating a healthier future for themselves, their families, and the planet. We're aligned with these values. Our ethos of trust through transparency drives our organizational commitments and choices. Research has shown that 86% of pet owners want transparency when it comes to feeding their pets. They are examining labels, looking for ingredients and brands they know and trust. By becoming ORIVO certified, we provide fish oils to the pet industry that are guaranteed, tested, and approved. So let's get started. This is Donie, the co-founder and CEO of Vital Pet Life.
And I'm Dr. Amber, your official veterinarian at Vital Pet Life.
We're here to talk about pets, pet nutrition and wellness, anything that can help our fur children live a longer, vibrant, and happier lives.
All right.
Yeah. Welcome to Vital Pet Life Podcast. Let's welcome Svein Erik.
Welcome to the Vital Pet Life Podcast, Svein Erik.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me and ORIVO this fantastic topic in your podcast. How are you doing?
We're good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're good. We're back cold winter of Norway. It's a storm outside today, but we're good. How is Tuxedo and Jean Martin doing?
They're good. They're enjoying the sunlight. They just had their breakfast, so they're just out here lounging.
Yeah. And your
Pretty
partner in
quiet.
crime, the chief pooper scoop, is also good, I presume?
Yes, he's enjoying his baseball.
Of
He's on a
course.
break. Yeah.
Of course. That's he's doing some hard work, I guess.
Yeah. So Svein Erik, can you give our listeners a brief background of how ORIVO started or how it began and why?
Yes, of course. And I think you introduced quite precise what we are doing. And background for that is actually that started 10 years ago. It was me and Erik, my co-founder. He's also a chemist. He has a PhD in organic chemistry. We started originally off making a tool to detect illegal trading of fish oils to the Norwegian fish feed industry and the human supplements industry in Norway. And we found a suitable testing technology developed over the last 2 decades by some of the finest, smartest, best marine researchers here in Scandinavia. And this technology was, as you introduced, able to detect a species of a marine oil and its geographic origin, meaning that we solved this problem within the Norwegian marine industry quite quickly. That was actually, let's say, the business potential in this bulk oil part of the value chain was, to be honest, not really good. So we actually failed a bit business-wise, but scientifically it was a fantastic tool. So, and we found, as chemists, we found this technology very cool, and we knew it had potential. So we wanted to try to find another place in the value chain where this tool be applied.
Yes,
Short story, this had potential, so we commercialized this geeky B2B testing technology into what we refer to today as an omega-3 supplement verification program. And at that time, which then was around 2016, it was a verification program for human dietary supplements. That's where we started.
Yeah. So pretty much your mission is making sure that you can verify whatever omega-3s are where our vitamins or omega-3s come from, right?
Yeah, the vision is to help like secure consumers to get what they're paying for, and then I would say the mission is to help companies like you guys to provide these consumers an evidence for being transparent and all that, and that's why we say our mission is to provide evidence-based transparency to the supplementer.
I have a question. How did you know to look for this problem? Like what made you think we should be testing all of these fish oils?
So when we started to look at the right side of the value chain, like consumer side of the value chain, we obviously needed to see, is there a problem to solve? We have over the years did a lot of so-called market screenings. So we go out there, Amazon and other Tmall in China and other e-commerce channels and also brick and mortar channels to just buy supplements off the shelf and check if the label claim is correct. Is what's going on the label actually what's inside the bottle? And then we see that first when we started looking into humans in the supplement space, we saw that around 40-50% of these products tested did not comply with the label claim.
Wow.
So that's been the background for providing our services all the time. And then we looked into the pet supplement space, which had grown very much since we started in 2016. So I think it was around 2021. We actually came across the category of wild Alaskan salmon oil, and not confirmed numbers, but rumors in the industry, which we were quite familiar with at that time, said it's 10 times more wild Alaskan salmon oil in the marketplace compared to what the theoretical supply of wild Alaskan salmon oil is.
Wow.
So then we actually did a market screening on pet supplements, and we more or less confirmed that it was like this. I think you introduced saying over 80% of pet parents, they are conscious or want transparency when they buy supplements. And funny, because over 80% of the supplements we tested had a fake label claim.
Wow.
So,
I know. Like, I remember when I started buying products for my dogs, I always go through the website. I mean, that was back in 2011, 12, when I was buying stuff and sending back home overseas, like the products that I buy. Like, I could never find any data or any website that can pretty much like gauge or tell me which foods were good. And the only thing that I can see was the food meter guide. And then when I started a business, that was really the main key thing that was like stuck in my brain. And I'm like, oh, if I'm gonna really be into the whole pet space, like I need to make sure that in some way or another, like I can figure out, pinpoint even either ingredients or like being transparent. Because I learned all those stuff that it can be traceable in the other industry that I came from, fashion industry, because everybody was doing that early on in 2016, 2015, like too bad it was a little bit greenwash, but there were really people or companies that were doing that, being transparent, going direct to the sources. So I was really looking for that kind of idea that I can bring into the pet space. But it took 4 or 5 years for us to really have it. And I'm proud that I never derailed. The first thing that I got was MSC, and I thought it was good, but still there was some issue with the supply chain, especially COVID when everything surged.
yeah, I could say that there are MSC labeled supplements out there that actually is not MSC because they thought they bought MSC raw material, but somewhere in the value chain that swapped with something else that definitely is not MSC.
Yeah.
I don't want to downplay the MSC label because it's a fantastic sustainability product. But people can put the MSC logo on something that's not MSC.
Yeah.
What should pet owners believe when they read pet labels? Can it be mislabeled or even fraudulent or dangerous to our pets?
Yes, I can say something about this. Definitely, we have a lot of knowledge around this topic. Can it be mislabeled? Yes, our findings confirm that very solidly. Hence, the branding would be fraudulent. The typical branding would be wild Alaskan salmon oil and in big letters on the front label, and nothing at the back label indicating anything else, ingredient list, wild Alaskan salmon oil and no other lipid source. We then test it. We typically find cheaper raw materials, not necessarily dangerous. I wouldn't go that far, but we also do deliver verification services to the pet kibble industry. And at least at that segment, I know when you as a pet parent have a like allergic or sensitive dog,
Yeah.
and finally find a label that your dog can take. If that mixed protein ingredients varies from every batch because the label is actually just something, and they just take whatever they have in hand every time they produce a new batch of kibbles, then the dog will start vomiting and have diarrhea and all that. How that is in the pet supplement space, maybe you can have more information about that, Donie.
Yeah, I think when we tested the products, when we first discussed with you guys, there was a few complaints that I was getting that the oil was making the dog like diarrhea and all those stuff, vomiting. And I'm like, oh, when, I asked the supplier, like they said it was pure wild Alaskan. So again, like I wouldn't have an idea, right? That it was changed. Like it was, as I said, like it varies, like especially with the supply and the demand of the wild Alaskan oil during that time when 2020, when the pet industry surged or the pet supplement space surged. So that was the one thing that I really was worried about. And I kept on like nudging my supplier, is there a way that we can really verify who got the oil? Like I do get it that they buy it from a fishery, but is there a specific way that we can really see? Like, because I just need some traceability, like where it came from. And I think it was perfect when you guys emailed us or presented your business to us. It was something that I was really looking for. And as you said, we tested a couple of our products that we kept from the beginning. Like we have products that we kept from 2-3 years before we had a discussion, and sure enough, I think there were the first few products that we tested that was a little bit old. There was more Wild Alaskan, was it? And then towards the end it was getting like, oh my god.
Yeah,
So-
less and less, and that's
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that many of those brands we tested that turned out to have a, let's say, misleading, to be kind, label claim, many of those probably didn't know. Because
Yeah.
the fraud is most likely, and the blending is happening earlier in the value chain. Then the middleman, and it starts to be creative.
They can just put anything they think. Also, I noticed too the consistency of the oil was getting less and less. Like it was a little different compared to the first few batches that when we started selling. And again, I'm a pet parent. I don't really want to buy something that is not effective. Yeah. So I think that's very important. So Sven, Erik, can you explain why the pet space really need third-party traceability testing? I know to me it's very important, but I know you guys to really understand that the industry really need traceability or the kind of technology that you guys have.
Yeah, as I said, there is an imbalance between the supply and the demand. If the rumors of 10 times more sold than available is true or not, I can't scientifically validate that, but I can scientifically validate that almost all of the product we tested back actually last year, very recently, they
So the same.
were not
Oh God.
containing pure wild Alaskan salmon oil. Yeah, I don't want to be a whistleblower here, but that's the
You can
fact.
be.
Yeah,
You can be.
that's the fact. That you can't actually trust the label.
Yeah.
It's because of something good. It's because of a very popular ingredient and a very successful industry, and a lot of pet owners that wants to give their dog the best thing. So the background is positive, but at one point you have to stop diluting these products and introduce new products. The solution is not to take away the salmon oil from your dogs, but it's just to be honest and solve the problem in another way and offering fraudulent products.
Yeah, totally.
So how is ORIVO helping brands like Vital Pet Life to differentiate themselves from other brands that may be selling fraudulent products?
So first of all, we have a technology, as said, that is able to verify what's by testing the final product, what's in the product. So what we provide is a guarantee and evidence for what's inside the bottle. And then, as I said earlier, that we cannot make a non-wild Alaskan salmon oil be a wild Alaskan salmon oil. So the supply demand situation is like it is. But then I think as a chemist, it's a good idea to offer something similar, something else, make product development, but be transparent with your clients. The changes you have made, such as Vital Pet Life has done, since the situation has been as it has with a lot of fraudulent products, I think it's a good idea to also verify that transparency. Okay, I will now offer a new product next to my Wild Alaskan salmon oil because we need more supply, and that's a pollock oil or a blend, even a blend.
Yeah.
That it's a blend, could be a blend of ocean raised salmon with pollock or whatever it is.
Whatever you in,
We're not the nutritional experts. We are the chemists that can help you provide the evidence for your claims.
I feel like having also like a really good and supply chain, like, you know, from the very beginning, like incorporating, let's say, a third party testing to your supply chain, like, which we did. Like, I feel like that was the main key, that our supplier was open to have ORIVO tested from the very beginning. Because, like, as I said, like, that was really important for me, because I can just have like a supplier, and because I feel like I'm the end product, right? I'm the gateway to the customers, but for production wise, the supplier like had to be open to that too, which is a great thing. My supplier was really open for ORIVO to open for their ingredients to be tested. So which was amazing.
That is a really good point, because we apply or offer our services to the whole value chain, obviously, and it's even though our technology is able to detect the fraud at your level, at the gatekeeper level or gateway level to the consumers. Sometimes we detect something has happened somewhere in the value chain, and then it's kind of too late. Because then it might be products there out in the marketplace. And these middlemen, traders, formulators, contract manufacturers, the impression is that many of those, they want to have the flexibility. They don't want to be watched by us, so they want to have the flexibility. But they need to understand that every time companies like Untitled Pet Life enter our program, the fraud will be detected. So it's much better to have that checked before it goes into the bottle and out to the consumers.
I mean, I don't think there's a problem with buying with a middleman, but I feel like finding the right middleman that is transparent too. Like, I mean, you guys can work with a middleman. They can offer clients that, I mean, they could have an option to their clients not to have like a verified supply, and maybe they can have like a verified supply to specific clients. So I feel like if I am the middleman, I will do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, like being transparent and honest is really the key.
Because being the middleman, you're the first one to be accused for doing the blending. So the need is actually the greatest there. But luckily there are these middlemen companies that actually wants to be sure and have a verification program with us on their supply, giving you as a brand even greater peace of mind.
So can you give us just a brief overview of how the technology works?
Oh, I could talk all night about and all day about this, but I'll try to be short. We're like a forensic lab, and the database of suspects, that would be our categories of marine oils or omega-3 oils. And then we have over 10,000 or almost 20,000 samples in our database. Of course, many of the same category, obviously, but that's how it started ORIVO. That was to collect reference samples from the most relevant commercial fisheries around the world. Wild Alaskan salmon, obviously, all the ocean-raised salmon in Canada, in Norway, and Scotland, and Chile, and pollock from North America, krill from the Antarctic waters, anchovy from South Pacific, and cod liver oils from Norway, and you name it. We have everything covered in our database and even blends of these. So every time we go out there, check a product, most often find a match with our database. And if we don't find a match, then it's a good chance this is something you don't want to put into your body or into your dog's body.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Was that brief enough?
So you found fraudulent oils. So maybe it was fish, but it wasn't wild Alaskan salmon that was on the label. But you've also found evidence of oils that were not in your database or were not even fish. Is that correct?
Yes. One example is the most sophisticated way of faking a krill oil, for instance, to take that category, which contains lecithins and contains phospholipids, which you can get from krill, which is the marine good phospholipid, and you can get it from soy lecithin. And krill oil also has a lot of EPA and DHA, obviously. So with traditional testing methodologies, not ours, but the classic, you can blend fish oil with soy lecithin and some red coloring. Voila, you have krill oil.
Wow.
That is not krill oil.
Some people can say it's also wild Alaskan. Remember, I heard it from a supplier saying some of the oil that they blended Of course, like salmon oil has a little bit of a red coloring, and they put the red coloring of the krill, blend it
Yeah,
so
that
that
could be even like a red soft gel, but the inside is not red.
it's not red.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
So it looks
Oh,
red because the coloring is in the gelatin or whatever the capsule's
yeah.
made out of. Wow.
Exactly. And then, of course, speaking of dangerous, there is a product in the supply chain called used cooking oils that has been detected by us in products.
Is this the
Wow.
canola oil or?
Yeah, most likely canola, rapeseed, all these used for frying. And there is a big
Oh my
industry
gosh.
collecting these oils because you can't just throw it away. That's regulated, but they should be used for biofuel or things like that. But
Yeah.
there are some place in the world converting this into oils that ends up in the pet supplements or human supplements.
Wow.
Wow.
You don't want to think of that.
No.
Oh my God. Well, this is insightful.
I mean, based on what you've said today, I'm just amazed. I think my biggest takeaway is that when you go to buy something for yourself or for your pet, you need to make sure not just read the label, like you need to look for verification of the claims. And, I mean, that's really the only way. Because if brands aren't going to do it themselves, if they're going to either not know or knowingly falsify their information,
They can
you
do
don't
it.
want to
Yeah.
have that. Yeah. And so you
Yeah.
need to search out brands that are willing to be transparent and do the testing that's necessary to verify their products.
Yeah. And as I said, like being a brand owner, it doesn't really matter if you're big or not, but you have the responsibility to your consumers. And that's what we're doing. Hopefully, other brands will follow.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Svein Erik, any takeaways?
I want people to be aware what you just mentioned. Tip to guys like you, obviously, Donie, is what's going on the label. Is what's going in the bottle and into your dog and cat. That's
Yeah.
my takeaway.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Svein Erik, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Svein Erik. How can our listeners connect with ORIVO?
So we obviously have a webpage, not much consumer related there. We want to do most of our communication through our clients, partners such as Untitled Pet Life. However, we have started Instagram account. I have to warn you, it's not a million followers there, and it's not a lot of content. But we have started to share some content, some knowledge, some insight, and there will be more. Obviously, we have a stronger focus on let's say consumer education in the following time. So 2025 will be the launch for that. So if you go to ORIVO Verified on Instagram as a consumer, you can if you follow us there, I promise you we will give you some good content to chew on.
And also for our consumers, like we have the ORIVO number in our bottle. You go to the ORIVO website, you click on the website, you click on the number, and you guys can see what we have in our bottle. It may be blend, but again, anything that we put in our bottles that is good for your pet, we had it like tested, a chemist. It's formulated to be good for your pets. Yeah.
Exactly. And I want to, if I can add to that, please, there will be a list of batch numbers on that online certificate, as we say. When you go to our webpage, type the test number of that specific product, you should find the batch number that's on your actual bottle in that list. And if you don't find it, give us a ring, and then we will make sure that this batch also is tested. It's most likely is nothing wrong, but can slip, and some batches can not tested.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Well, thank you everyone who tuned in today. I hope you learned as much as we did. We'd love to hear your thoughts on transparency and trust when you are choosing pet products, as well as any questions you have about your pet. Please email Dr. Amber and me at podcast@vitalpetlife.com.
We appreciate all of your feedback and look forward to answering all your questions on air. If you have a moment, please like and leave us a 5-star review. Your support helps us reach more listeners and keeps the podcast growing. Thank you for being an amazing community.